What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So this week we got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on, so I want to break down what is currently going to happen. Also want to provide you with a little bit of a stimulus update, talk about what the stock market news is for this week, what we are expecting, again, and this is just what we are expecting. So we could be thrown for a loop here, but make sure you stick around for that as well, and also want to provide some daily news as well regarding COVID. Now, after all the talks about gas prices this weekend, and really this past week in general, lawmakers are going to have to make some tough decisions. They're going to have to decide, do they push for more discussions on what they can provide for the American people as far as relief, or do they take a step back? Do they work more on what could potentially be passed for Ukraine and try to deal with the negotiations and really the conflicts over there? So that's what we're going to see leading into this week. Now, we already know that the Biden administration has promised multiple times that they are going to find a way to ease the pain at the pumps for the American people, as well as provide relief on heating bills and other costs as well. However, and this is something that I really want to touch on, is we are seeing not just pain at the pumps, we're seeing pain at the grocery stores, retail stores, right? When it goes to paying our rent or our mortgage, right? Utility payments, insurance, everything is costing more and more money these days. Now, granted, inflation is at 7.9%, and many worry what would happen if prices continue to rise. Now, here's what I want to say, because this is tying into the stock market update. What we're going to see this week is the start to, at least according to reports or according to the expectations, but the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates this week. Well, what does this mean? This means we're going to start seeing inflation potentially come down, but it could take a while, because raising rates a quarter of a percent isn't going to do us much good. So we'll see what happens there. But one thing I can tell you is that Congress can only do so much. And I got a bunch of questions just the other day as to why doesn't Congress do this and do that and pass stimulus checks and child tax credit payments and additional assistance for people on Social Security and make sure grocery stores can't charge more for the products that they're selling, and why can't gas prices come down? Why do we keep on paying these additional taxes? And the list goes on and on. Here's what I can tell you. Right now, Congress has a tough job, but when they take all these breaks, it makes their job even more difficult, because now they're under time crunches. Well, even though it would be great to get Congress to come together and provide some relief to the American people, don't expect that they will be able to take everybody and take care of everyone's problems and provide enough relief to bring bills back down to a more normal level. That's not going to happen. Congress doesn't have that kind of power. Okay? Now, could they? Yes. But let me just point this out, okay? Because this is something I think a lot of people are not really understanding or grasping. This is, right now we want Congress to do what they can to lower prices. Well, here's the problem with this, is that right now this is kind of the free market, okay? This is kind of what we want, the businesses want. They want to be able to dictate pricing. But if Congress comes in and oversteps and says, no, you can't charge that much, you got to bring your price down because you're too profitable. Guess what? Guess what happens then? Then we see businesses, they are actually losing out on profit. And when you lose out on profit, you don't hire as many people, or you don't provide the wage increases that you should. And guess what? People start making less and less money. So even though right now we want Congress to step in and do something, or President Biden to, hey, figure out a way to get more oil, the problem is when we do these things and companies aren't as profitable, this could turn and actually hurt the economy. Okay, now I'm not getting into all that, because honestly, I don't think Congress would overstep, but they could, and it would actually take us into more of a downturn. So again, there's pros and cons to every situation. And let me know if you've thought about that before, is, well, if Congress can, why can't they just do this and just provide a little bit more? But at the same time, they could also do the complete opposite and take stuff away. So, and I know most people would absolutely hate that, because we're now starting to get our lives back, right? We're getting out of COVID. A lot of states don't have a mask mandate anymore, right? Good news there. So we're starting to get out of this, and we want to fully get out of this pandemic, and then we can start rebuilding our economy the way it kind of falls apart, or the way it all lies. So we'll see what happens there. But here's what I can tell you. We know as of right now, food prices have jumped more than 11%. We know gas prices have increased about 52% just from a year ago today. Real estate experts are predicting that home prices will continue to climb at least another 12% this year. Some actually have it close to 14 to 16%, which is absurd, especially over the last couple of years, kind of what we've seen. We also know utility costs are up more than 35% this year as well. All these expenses, all these additional costs are hurting the American people because we've actually seen wages decrease. And again, this is interesting, but wages, because of when you factor in inflation, wages are actually decreasing by about 1.2 to 1.3%. So that's a big adjustment when wages are seen as a decrease because of such high inflation. And that is what's insane about all this is all the other costs are going up. Inflation is going, right? We're seeing inflation, but inflation is 7.9. Food, 11%. Gas prices, 52%, right? Real estate, 12%. And utility costs, 35% just from a year ago. Well, guess what? A year ago today, right, we're seeing inflation up 7.9%. That's the issue is we are seeing inflation, which is coming under a lot of these other categories, right? So, and that, again, I talked about this the other day. Many expect we have inflation currently over 10%. Currently over 10%. And all these numbers are pretty much saying the exact same thing. Now, Congress will not, and I repeat, will not be able to provide enough relief to the American people in a time when Senator Joe Manchin demands that we pay down our national deficit. In order to provide more relief to the American people, we would actually have to deficit spend. That is not something that we can do at this time because multiple moderates say, no, we can't afford to do that. And others say, no, we can't afford to do that anyway because this would put us and our children and our grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren in future debt. So what does this mean? This means this week, even though we saw on Thursday, I believe, that Ro Khanna and Senator Whitehouse, they both proposed a bill that was actually co-sponsored and backed by Senator Bernie Sanders, but they both said providing a stimulus check to the American people to help pay for the rising cost of gas, but pulling that money and taking the profits from these large oil companies, this would be a great way to incentivize companies not to charge as much and to get people to drive less. Because if we took these, paid them a little bit of money, but then they could actually get these the money back as opposed to or in like a credit or something from the Treasury, right? This was something that was seen as a good idea. Well, here's what I can tell you. These $240 stimulus checks are not going to do much. There's not much here. Just think about that. Let's say gas prices go up $2 a gallon, right? They're already up, what was it, $3.80 something a year ago today, like $3.85 or something. They're now at $4.32. So what, $1.50? So let's say you go up another 50 cents to about $2, additionally. That means if you get a $240 stimulus check, that's going to cover, that $2 is going to cover about 120 gallons. Well, that's not a lot. It's not a lot when the average American family puts in 100 gallons of gas. Okay? 100 gallons of gas per month. That's the typical American family. 100 gallons of gas per month. So again, that covers you for like a little over a month, right? A month and like a week, a month and 5 days. Not a lot. Not a lot. We also know we're not going to see the child tax credit payments to the same group of people that received the last one. And this is something I get a lot of questions about is, hey, you said the child tax credit payments were coming. Nope, absolutely did not say that. I did not say that because as of right now, and even back in October, November, they're still questionable. Then in December, it was like, nope, not going to happen. Then in January, we knew absolutely not. There's no way the same group of people were going to get them. But we knew Mitt Romney proposed another bill that would provide an additional, $350 a month to children under the age of 5, under the age of 6, so 5 and under. But a big boost, but there's not enough support on that. And lawmakers right now, they're not even pushing for something like that. And the likelihood of seeing the American people's costs get reduced by Congress for pretty much everything, Not going to happen at this time. The likelihood of that happening is so small, so small. And again, I hate being the bearer of bad news, but I want to be realistic with what could happen and what is happening. And as of right now, I see a lot of people talking about this on social media, that there's another stimulus check. There's more relief coming. Don't worry about it. Fill up your gas tank. You're going to be fine. You're going to get a credit. No, that's not true. That's not there, right? So you gotta remember who you're listening to, because sometimes these people are just giving this false hope. And again, and I understand this because I know a lot of people say, oh, what you're talking about is clickbait. No, and again, okay, I don't want to say no. Yes, sometimes I do a little bit of clickbait, but am I completely wrong? Am I saying something that isn't happening? No. Do I kind of entice you to click on the video? Yes, because what I'm telling you is true. That's not fake information. That's not false news. It's true. And I want you to hear the truth and not some scam from somebody else. And again, that's why I mentioned people just the other day. Talked about Stephen Gardner, Clear Value Tax. Talked about Morning Invest with Clayton and Dave. Also, and another person pointed out, it's Jimmy, right? It's another great channel. I've seen a few of his videos. Another great channel, right? Listen to people that you can trust. Not just some random person that pops up all of a sudden and provides some type of click-worthy story that you just, oh, this is good, right? So again, I just want you to take care of yourself and understand you're the only one that's going to look after you. Now, I want to make sure you're getting the right information, but again, I'm not taking care of your finances or doing anything like that. So again, just make sure you look after yourself, because there's a lot of sketchy people out there online. But also just understand that everything that we see going on right now is going to take some time. By the end of everything that happens, are we going to see stimulus? Are we going to see relief? We don't know. Hopefully, but we just don't know. And also keep in mind that right now, polls continue to show that the Democrats' far left-leaning policies are not what the American people want. They're just so out of whack, according to many reports. They're not what the American people want. Even Democrats say the progressive priorities and policies, that's not what we want. That's not us. But again, that's what people are talking about. So we'll see what happens there. But let's get into some stock market news, because this is going to be key this week. Not only is Congress going to be working on their stuff, but this week will be a very important week. And I want you to stay up to date on what is happening. Because on Tuesday and Wednesday, okay, that's March 14th and 15th, we are going to have the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Now, on the 16th, which is Wednesday, and I believe this normally happens at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, we should have the statement from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and he usually follows that up with some questioning. Now, this is extremely important to know what's going to happen here, because what we are expecting is a 1/4 point rate hike. Anything other than a 1/4 point rate hike would actually shock the markets. Now, we are not expected to see rates continue to stay at 0%. If they do, that would be shocking. That would be absolutely shocking, because guess what? Inflation is going to continue to rise. We also, according to the markets, are expecting a 5% chance that we see a 50-point rate hike. Okay? So the expectations, we got about a 95% chance we're going to see a 1/4 point rate hike. That's what we want to see. And right now, again, keep this in mind, the Federal Reserve has two main goals. Number one, they want to ensure we have maximum employment. Check. We have that. We currently have that. The next thing, they want to maintain financial stability. We are actually a long ways away from this. So this is their new goal, is to make sure that we have financial stability. And they expect to do this with a 1/4 point rate hike, which would come out on Wednesday. All right? So if you are currently waiting for some good buying opportunities, this week could be a good indicator of where the Federal Reserve is headed. And this could actually give you some insight and help you prepare a little bit better for what is to come. All right, so just keep that in mind. I will do some stock market updates, maybe some trades that I do this week as well. I'm always doing trades, so a lot of you guys asked for those, so I probably will do that. But just keep in mind, when I put out a trade, it's usually going to be after. It's always going to be after I do the trade. So I don't know if it's profitable or if it's a loser until after I sell. So just keep that in mind. I have to sell it, which means when I tell you about a trade, that trade is over with. I've already fulfilled that. All right, already gone through that cycle. So let's talk about some COVID news for today, because I know a lot of people have been asking what's going on with COVID. Well, here's the truth. The White House, I don't think they really care. Congress, I don't think they really care. Now, we did learn today that former President Barack Obama did test positive, but he said him and Michelle Obama are doing just fine. They're just staying quarantined, so good news there. But according to the Pfizer CEO, he stated today, a fourth booster shot is more than needed. It is actually necessary. He says that the third dose is doing very well and providing the antibodies needed to keep people from hospitalizations and deaths. So that's good news there. And I know many people don't want to even consider life with an additional COVID shot, but that is what the many health experts have been expecting. And that's what we are pretty much anticipating moving forward, is if we want to stay safe and you do have the vaccine, then you should get the next booster shot as well. And I know other countries like Israel is doing it, Chile is doing it, and even Germany have all begun recommending a fourth booster shot at this time. So that's what we know regarding COVID. That's what we know regarding stimulus and the stock market for this week. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Hopefully you guys have an incredible week as well. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.